80 hơn rồi nữa.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
It is an under-23 competition, of course. 3 overage players are allowed if required. Interestingly, 1 or 2 countries have opted not to go with the overage players. Japan being one of those countries. This is a side that's predominantly under-21 with a view to the 2020 Olympics in mind. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But there are 8 changes today. The only 3 surviving members from the opening game, Kojima, Naganuma and Matsumoto, who will start. Itakura wears the captain's armband for Japan. And all those players that dropped out of the starting lineup, part of the squad, are available on the bench for Hajime Moriyasu, should they be required. The man who's just taken over the full Japanese job, as well as this dual role with the under-23 team.
This side?
Itakura wins the toss, opts to stay where he is, so it will be Pakistan, led by their experienced captain Saddam Hussein. He is one of the overage players in the starting lineup. Jose Antonio Nogueira there, the man recently installed. Interesting, he wants to make Pakistan football and really put them on the map. He's got a 3-year plan. His wages have been paid by the Brunei Football Association. So, you know, Pakistan, not much money to invest, but they're getting help from the Asian confederations as well. It'd be interesting to see how he fares over the first 3 years of his tenure.
It'd probably be the first 2 years that are very, very difficult. And if you can see improvements, even in this tournament, as it goes on, regardless of the first game, if you can just finish this tournament with a bit of positivity, even a couple of goals, it certainly helps with confidence of breathing through. But it's all about the pooling talent. Do they look outside Pakistan and try and find players playing all over different parts of the world to try and bring them in and bring them on this project? But you have to start somewhere, and given a 3-year contract shows the confidence they've got in him to try and take Pakistan forward as a nation.
Just for the Japanese goalkeeper there, Ryosuke Kiyojima, who kept a clean sheet in the opening match against Nepal. Desmond Maeda coming into the starting lineup today for Matsumoto Yamaga Football Club. Sakib, who didn't look comfortable at times, one of those goalkeepers who likes to use that double-fisted punch even when the ball's coming at a reasonable height. You would expect most goalkeepers to catch, and it makes his defenders feel a little bit nervy at times as well. The referee checks his watch. We're just about to get this game underway. Group D then. Let's say a win for Japan would put them into the round of 16. Pakistan need a victory to keep alive their hopes. It's the top 2 teams, plus the 4 best third-place teams that will go through. There's a heavy touch from Hassan, which almost allowed him Maeda, but managed to recover just in time. It's important Pakistan make a good start. As I say, Japan, I don't think really got out of first gear in their opening game. But we know they've got good talent, and it's quite interesting that the coach, you know, building this side with a view to the Olympic Games, that's his brief. The fact he's taken the national team job as well. This is why we're seeing such a young Japanese team. These players will be in the Tokyo Olympics in 2 years' time, so they are a lot younger than their opponents.
They are, and they're trying to breathe them into, I'd say, the competition manner of how football works, you know, the tournament, you know, the games in quick successions. I understand why other countries are bringing in experienced players to maybe help players move along, but Japan, I think, are at that stage where they have to develop in the youth.
It's a hefty challenge in the penalty area. Big appeals from Pakistan for a penalty, nothing given. It's a fairly tame-looking shot, which will be comfortably gathered by Kojima, but first thing for the referee to have a little look at. Don't see those given very often. Lovely ball over the top, and Sakib comes, doesn't get there, and Iwasaki puts Japan in front. And it's the opening goal inside the opening 90 seconds, and not the start Pakistan wanted. From one end to the other, the goalkeeper committed himself, and Iwasaki was brave to just chip the ball beyond him.
And when you've got time on the ball, you have to drop a lot deeper, and it's a brilliant run from Iwasaki. Brings it down on his chest brilliantly. I'm looking back at that penalty decision. I've seen those given outside the box every single time. They didn't get the rub of the green, they switch off. They'll be disappointed with that long ball over the top. To take nothing away from the finish. That's a finish of real quality.
Iwasaki played all 4 matches at the Under-20 World Cup last year for Japan. Oh, straight away the goalkeeper's in trouble again. It's Maeda. Sakib all over the place in the opening minutes. Pakistan have managed to escape, but they could so easily have been 2 goals down. again, it's quite interesting to notice. I've certainly spoken about this a lot in my games, that even at this level now, even goalkeepers have to be good players on the deck, because so many teams now play up from the back rather than that long goal kick we used to see so many years ago.
Yeah, I mean, that is certainly the way that the modern-day game has changed. Just took too long on his second touch to clear it, trying to pick out a pass. You see at the top level now, people looking at Arsenal, Peter Cech, can he play out from the back? Under Unai Emery can't do it. That's why Manchester City went and won the Premier League. They've only got Ederson in who can kick out from the back. You almost need 11 players now that can play with your feet. It's the way that the modern-day goalkeeper is now going.
Japan already stamping their seal on the game once again. Sakib comes out and bundles through the back of Maeda. That was a clumsy challenge from the goalkeeper, so potential penalty shouts at both ends, but still the pressure on here. Kiyima.
Well, that was a penalty. In fairness, the referee's being consistent. I think it should have had 2 penalties in the game so far.
Itakura. Endo. Another late challenge has got unpunished by the referee. Well, he has signalled that he's playing the advantage with Japan still in possession. Kamiya. Itakura. Trying to find the wide ball. Riaz. Good turn of pace. A little shove in the back of Nakayama, but he was strong, the Japanese defender. Palestine have already booked their place in the next round of the competition. Their victory over the host nation Indonesia last night meant that they will go through. Will Japan be joining them? Victory here would assure them of a place in the round of 16. Certainly been a more positive start tonight from the Japanese than we saw in their opening match. Nepal did sit back, defend deep. Ominami. Nakayama. Pakistan have had all sorts of problems to deal with, of course. They were suspended by FIFA for a number of months from all football competition. Jose Antonio Nogueira, the man charged with trying to get them climbing those rankings.
That's a penalty. Very little delicate ball over the top.
Sakib was a bit rash in his challenge through the back of Maeda. Here's Nogueira, the 52-year-old Brazilian. He's coached internationally with Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau and St Kitts and Nevis, among others. Sent a video message when he was appointed to say how much he was looking forward to working with the relevant age groups and trying to get them into a position where they can challenge for competitions. Clearly has a big job on his hands, doesn't have a great pool of players to work with. It's Kamiya. Maeda. Itakura. That early goal, by the way, was goal number 47 in 17 matches so far at this competition. Pakistan have barely had a touch in the opening 7 minutes.
Well, they found it very difficult. I thought the first 2 minutes, I thought they actually started pretty well. But the problem is, they're not pressing at all. They're very happy to drop back in their own half, and Japan are picking off passes left, right, and centre.
Ball in from Maeda. Pakistan once again struggling to clear Matsumoto. His Aslan with a swing at the ball, doesn't get much distance on. Now Ali can find Riaz. Once again, there's no foul. It's quite interesting, the Japanese situation with Akira Nishino stepping down, the man who was in charge in Russia. It's another great-looking ball in, and another good finish. Goalkeeper rooted to the spot. And Hatate gets Japan's second goal of the game inside just over 8 minutes gone. Sakib beaten for a second time, and Pakistan, having conceded 3 to Vietnam, but worked a little harder in defence, have conceded 2 already here.
It's a great goal again, quality ball in. So much time and space to run into, so much time on the ball. And when you have that much time on the ball and you've got that quality, you are going to score an abundance of goals. Japan were looking to score plenty of goals in today's game to try and get their goal difference up. They've started brilliantly. Very easy when you play against sides that sit back and want to drop deep. You don't move the ball quick enough. Japan are moving the ball very, very fast, and at the moment, Pakistan cannot get anywhere near them.
Yeah, some clever movement from Hatate inside the penalty area once again. Here he is again. Maeda, good touch, is 3. Well, Japan scoring at will at the moment. And 2 vastly contrasting performances. 8 changes made, and they've scored 3 goals. And Sakib beaten once again, and poor defending. Just the pressure from Japan causing all those problems.
It's literally just so simple. Even the goalkeeper's positioning when he comes out, not really central to the goal. It's another good finish. I mean, the changes that have been made by Japan, but they're just moving the ball so quickly, so freely. And their finishing has just been clinical. It really has been clinical. I mean, if they carry on the way, this could be double figures.
Dazen Maeda becomes the 3rd goal scorer. Pakistan, probably more known for their cricketing skills. They'll have to watch this isn't a cricket score, the way they're going.
Could be in a minute.
But just on that, just looking at the way the front men are moving, there's some very clever movement inside the penalty area, because that's 3 times now we've seen attackers finding space away from defenders.
Yeah, I mean, the movement's been excellent. And what's happening is they're passing the ball forward early and finding players. So many times when you play against teams that sit back like Pakistan are doing, you just go sideways and backwards and sideways and backwards. Japan are not doing that. They're being brave. They're passing the ball forward early. When you pass the ball forward early, you can't keep your shape against that.
Hatate, Nakayama. It's Akura, the captain. Ominami. So a poor wayward pass. We haven't seen too many of those inside the opening 10 minutes.
Japan are pressing really well. I can sense that every time they get tight, they're going to know that they're going to put Pakistan under pressure. They don't have that quality to take the extra touch.
Just talking a moment ago about coach stepping down after the World Cup, by the way. There is the man who now takes over from Japan. Arsene Wenger was the #1 choice. Had great success at Grampus 8, of course, before he went to Arsenal. Japan finished 2nd in their group behind Colombia at the World Cup before going out in the round of 16. There might be a chance for Pakistan here to put Kojima's goal under pressure. Mansour, the player that was fouled.
It's a really silly foul to give away. Good opportunity. Set plays just become absolutely vital now. You know you're not going to have a lot of possession of the ball.
Hasn't had a shot to deal with as yet. Kept a clean sheet in the opening game. Ryusuke Kojima.
Riaz certainly looks at it, Hussein as well.
Lost their 2 group games 4 years ago in Incheon without scoring a goal. Pakistan beaten by DPR Korea and China. In danger of going the same way here. Can they get something here? Riaz and Saddam Hussein. It is Saddam Hussein, but it's way over the top. No trouble at all for Japan. Wasted effort, really.
Yeah, it's a poor effort, leaning back. No real conviction in it at all. It's all well and being when you sit back when you don't have the ball, but there does actually have to come a time where you have to put pressure on players. Pakistan are not doing that, and that's why Japan are finding acres of space.
It's a good ball across. There's a player taking someone in the centre. I think it was Maeda. The kid may have taken a knock as well, the goalkeeper. He's not been in the best of sorts. Picked up about 3 inches during the first game. I think it was Iwasaki that took a tumble. I don't think there was anything too much in that. A look at the opening goal.
Yeah, it was a great goal.
Iwasaki.
It was a great goal. I mean, Pakistan could have maybe had a case for a penalty. But any time a defender has the ball at the back and he's got time, the minute he gets his head down, you know that he's going to wind it up and hit a diagonal over the top. The line was way too high, but Iwasaki, great take, great finish. It was a really good goal.
Goes for Kota Sanga in the J-League. In terms of development and in terms of looking at, you know, it's not just about this competition, as we've said, you know, Japan looking ahead to the Olympic Games in 2 years' time. So if this coach gets this squad of players for 2 years and looking at the way they've started, I know they're playing a team that's ranked outside the world's top 200, but if you can keep them together for 2 years, get that familiarity, they will be a real prospect at the Olympics.
They will be, and you only have to use the success of the World Cup. Minutes from, well, almost taking Belgium out of the World Cup in that last 16. So there's a basis to say, look, they can go into major tournaments and do well. Play with the player at Celtics from Shuki Nakamura. By far the best player I'd ever played with, technically unreal. So the talent is there. They've been successful in World Cups, but there may come a time where they now need a sort of a foyer of young players coming through and developing and playing in the bigger leagues.
It's a poor challenge by Hayat, which is going to get the game's first yellow card. Shinji Ono was another player that stood out for Japan, of course. They're not a team that tends to breed superstars, but they have 11 players on the field that can all do a job and be very efficient about doing that job.
Show the manager's faith in the squad. 8 changes for today. That's a bad challenge. Just can't really argue about that from Hayat with the yellow card.
Itakura. Naganuma. Hatate. Looking for Maeda once again, headed away by Yunus. Japan must feel they can score every time they come forward at the moment. Also, another great shot on the turn. Iwasaki managed to get across the defender, but just did enough.
Just enough on the challenge in the end from San. But you're completely right there, Mark. Every time they go forward, they look like they're going to score a goal. And
You've done quite a few games over the last few days. What's impressed you so far, or have you seen anything that leads you to think that one team is sort of standing out at the moment?
The teams I've seen, I thought Uzbekistan were very decent in their opening game as well. I know Vietnam are going to be very, very strong after losing in the final of the AFC Championships. And Korea always will be strong, aren't they, with Son in their side. You feel that player of that calibre, I think, could probably win a game on their own, and you're thinking of maybe him playing against, say, like Pakistan today. Trying to think how many goals will he actually score in the tournament. So there are periods and there are some good individuals in the side in each country.
So ball forward by Mansour, but once again tidied up comfortably by Japan, who've not been troubled at the back so far. Just that one free kick from Pakistan, which sailed high over the top. Just a clumsy challenge on the edge of the area. Lovely ball out to Endo, right the way across, no one able to apply a touch. Two closing in on it. Great ball in.
Just waves and waves of attack. Endo getting in a great position there. That's a teasing ball across. Tactically, Japan have got it right. Going three at the back. Pakistan not playing with a recognised striker. Going to try and compact that midfield. So it's so brave that three centre-halves get on the ball early. Try and pass it forward and rather than side to side every single time. Movement in the final third's been excellent. You could say Japan have certainly thoroughly worried their 3-0 lead just coming into the 20-minute mark.
It must be very frustrating as a coach when you train and you put a plan in place and then you find yourself 3-0 down so early on in a game, and basically, even at this stage of the game, you're almost talking about damage limitation rather than trying to go and win the game.
It goes out the window. You can do all your tactics, you can say who you're marking, you can work on pattern of play. And when you get beaten by one ball over the top after 2 minutes, then you concede another one, then another one in the first 10 minutes. He now looks at character of the players to try and dig in and maybe now get to half-time without conceding another goal, where it'd be very difficult not to.
Naganuma. Rush across, but sailed out of play, come back in again, so it will be a goal kick to Pakistan. South Korea really around the most successful teams in terms of wins in the Asian Games, 4 wins each. South Korea also have 3 silvers and 3 bronze to add to their names. Defending champions, of course, having beaten North Korea in the final in Incheon 4 years ago. Had a trial for Manchester United during his playing days, Sejimi Moriyasu. Successful managerial spell with Sanfrecce Hiroshima, where he won the title 3 times in the J-League. Be interesting to see if he keeps this role, though, now having taken on the national team as well. It's a big ask being a national team coach these days. It may feel that the schedule of matches not great in international football. We have seen, of course, in the past managers manage a club and also manage an international team, but it depends on their ambitions, I suppose.
I think it's an interesting concept of he can now look at the players that he wants to bring through. You've got time as an international manager to look at different players.
The referee stops play. There was a hefty clash between the 2 number 17s, Kamir and Hussein. Hussein just come off the worst, I think, just got a trailing boot in the face. Of course, I suppose it's quite strange because there's no real dedicated under-23 levels anymore in international football. It's only when you get to Olympics and Asian Games and Southeast Asian Games, it tends to be, you know, we have an under-20 World Cup every 2 years and under-17. So maybe they're feeling we don't need a full-time role for an under-23 coach. And a lot of the under-23 players, you look at teams like Nepal, probably 50% of their team have already played for the full national team.
It is as well, and I mean, you take England, for example, under Gareth Southgate, he managed the under-21s, and a lot of those players were in his World Cup squad. It almost feels like you see a lot of countries, I remember Spain doing it and Germany doing it, where all the way through they had a pattern of play of how you've got to play before you go into that first team. So to drop the senior manager into the younger age group, and he can pick the players that he wants, and I think it's a really clever concept, and you may see more countries that are trying to develop players to get into their national team squad to probably go down that road, but can't argue with their finishing so far. It's been a real quality, even though the opposition have been pretty poor. You still have to do the job and be professional, and that's what Japan have been doing so far.
It was Koki Hatate getting his goal, Maeda and Iwasaki with the other two. Japan out the blocks very quickly here and into a 3-0 lead, and you feel already with one foot very much in the round of 16, joining Palestine, who qualified last night. Still lots of football to be played in this tournament. Group A is well advanced, having 5 teams in it. Top 20 of the Asian-ranked nations are here, with the exception of India, whose Olympic Federation refused to allow their football team to come. It's incensed the Football Federation, who feel that Indian football is very much on the rise, and emphasised by the fact their under-20 beat Argentina's under-20 2 weeks ago. Very strange decision.
So the Super League is doing very well.
Pakistan making a rare journey into Japan half, winning themselves another free kick. Zain down this near side, and then just goes back onto defensive duties. Jima just organising his defenders. It's that high line on the edge of the penalty area that Japan will try and hold. Hayat with the free kick.
Brilliant ball. Great ball into an area to go and attack. Riaz, the one that was trying to get on the end of it. The minute he left his boot, I thought, one there to go and be attacked. Just doesn't quite have the conviction and the confidence. Hayat, quality ball in. Maybe should at least hit the target minimum.
Certainly, having seen both Pakistan games now, you feel set pieces would be their best chance of getting something in terms of goals. It's a late challenge on Itakura. Mansour coming straight through and injuring himself in the process.
Another late challenge, saw Hayat going in for a similar challenge and got a yellow card for that.
It's one of the goal scorers, Maeda. Lively all game so far, set up by Hatate.
Designed to go and get the ball just on the edge of the box here, just on the move. So just with a little delicate through ball. 3 goals, all 3 quality finishes and clinical. There's no mucking around when he was through on goal trying to be clever. Thought the goalie's positioning was a little bit odd when he came out, off the more side of the goal rather than being central. The goal difference for Japan, as we said before the game, was vitally important, and he'll be absolutely delighted with his side start so far.
We've seen quite a few games, or 2 or 3 games in this tournament, where there's been a heavy bout of goal scoring in the first half and then it dries up in the second. I suppose that's the nature of the game, really. Teams naturally take their foot off the gas a little once they've got themselves into a good lead. 26 minutes gone here in Chikarang. 3-0 Japan lead. Which they did inside the opening 10 minutes or so. Another good-looking ball into the penalty area. It comes out to Endo. Stopped away by Hassan. Riaz. Didn't play their first international until 2002. Pakistan. 6-0 is their biggest defeat. Lost 6-0 in that opening game and then losing 6-0 to Thailand some 8 years ago. Wonder whether Japan might have a few more goals in mind to put that record at threat in the time that remains. featured at every Asian Games since this reverted to an under-23 competition in 2002. Winners in Guangzhou. Did get beaten by Iraq in the group stages. It was a fairly flawless record apart from that. All wins all the way. Until they lost to South Korea in the quarter-finals. Beat UAE in that final in 2010. Endo. Cutting back inside, good strike, wasn't too far away. Sakib flying across goal. It was a well-struck shot from Endo.
Yeah, it really was. Sakib saying, go and close him down. Seen a lot of shots from this kind of distance this tournament, but this time he did catch it sweetly, didn't he? Just couldn't quite keep it under the bar, but still a quality strike from the wing up. I think the goalie had it covered.
Just rising as it crossed the bar from Endo, but it was certainly a worthwhile effort from that sort of distance. Hussein. Easily given away once again. Iwasaki. Challenged by Hassan.
A lot of times with Pakistan in possession, just over the halfway line there, every single ball is going backwards and backwards and sideways and backwards. So when they are in good areas, you've got to try and be slightly more positive. I'd rather try and give it away, being positive, playing it forward, than going backwards and then giving it away like they did there, 25 yards away from their own goal.
Aminama. Itakura. Kamiya. Very high up the field. Lovely ball threaded through. Two waiting in the centre. No real conviction on the cross from Naganuma.
Really good ball.
Pakistan for a kick, but I think Japan will be disappointed not to put more pressure on Sakib's goal there. It's a lovely ball forward. It's the foul on Arslan. Three early goals for Japan, really putting them in control in this match, yet to concede.
I think they'll be slightly disappointed they haven't got another goal since taking three early goals very, very quickly. The position that they have had.
I know the coach wasn't too happy with just that one goal in the opening game against Nepal, who just really sat back and invited Japanese pressure, and Japan never really got out of first gear in that game.
They got the early goal in that game, didn't they, as well? And again, as you said, just didn't quite capitalise on that stubborn Nepal defence.
Yeah, 7th minute lead, you would probably have expected them to go on and take the game to Nepal, another one of the low-ranked teams in the competition. Spirit around in their team, though. They'll take on Vietnam later in the group. Of course, a Vietnam win would also see them through into the next round. All the third-place teams, by the way, go into a sort of league table, and then the teams that have the 4 best records from the group stages will go through.
It's a big gap just on the edge of the 6-yard box. You make a run across that penalty spot, the delivery's right. Could get a good header. Just come out a little bit more.
Good header away by Saddam Hussein. Jima, long way off his line here. Everybody back behind the ball for Pakistan. causes nothing for another corner. Kamiya, shot flicking off the defender.
That almost got in. He'd already gone the other way. Sometimes happens.
Good delivery. Sakib getting up above his central defender Hassan to punch the ball clear. Good work rate from Japan. Nakayama winning the ball back.
They've done that brilliantly. You give credit to them that every time that Pakistan have got the ball, 3-0 up still, they've got that work rate and desire to try and win the ball back as quickly as possible. It changes. You'd expect the freshness in Japan to be like that when they haven't got the ball.
Tate. Rios has just nicked that one away from Nakayama. And recovered well there. Minami. Itakura. Changing formation has worked well for Japan as well. That 3 at the back just gives you that extra width through midfield as well. It does mean that those wide players have to work to get back, but it just stretches things through midfield as well.
It gives them good options, especially when you're not being pressed and when you get into Pakistan's half. What they do have, they play essentially, but then they also have the massive width with the full-backs or the wing-backs in particular going forward. The 3 centre-halves are not really marking anybody. Mansour is the lone striker there, but I think it's really clever what he's done.
Endo, 3 in the centre, nicely pulled back. It's Tate, can't get the shot in. Still they've got a shooting chance. Great finish, Iwasaki's second goal of the game. Pakistan looked as if they may have snuffed out the danger, but there is no stopping Iwasaki today. Second goal of the game. Sakib beat for a 4th time. It's 4-0 to Japan.
Well, it's the goal of the day for me so far. Just the finish, the awareness, the cutback. Just watch his feet moving here. 2 very quick touches. That sets up the strike on goal. Just that second touch is so delicate. And it's just a quick shot. Not much of a back lift. So the ball was already in the net before. Sakib was already diving. 2 very quick touches here. Brilliant touches going away from goal as well.
So Iwasaki gets his second goal of the game, second goal of the tournament. Really has been a one-sided first half. Just one shot from Pakistan, a free kick from Saddam Hussein that was well over the top. Itakura. Nami. The top for Iwasaki, who's on a hat-trick now. Pakistan have got the SAFF Cup next month, which they'll be using this as some preparation for. They're in a group with Bangladesh, Bhutan and Nepal. They'll play Nepal here in their final group game in 3 days' time. It's slightly bizarre, isn't it? You lose your 2 opening games, and even you could still win your 3rd game and still go through as one of the best 3rd-place teams. It's quite a strange format when they have the best 3rd-place teams going through. It's quite possible that a team with no points could go through.
I know. You look at the discipline side of the fort. Keep your noses clean. Yes, yellow cards and red cards, you can actually go through to the knockout stage.
Kojima just sorting out his defenders. Mansour with a free kick. Never going to test the goalkeeper from that sort of range. Wasted, really.
I don't know what's been said before this tournament. I've seen so many free kicks from that range where people are shooting. It is just baffling. Even Cristiano Ronaldo would struggle from that distance to score from there.
Manami. Itakura marshalling thing well at the back for Japan in this first half so far. 7.5 minutes to go to half-time. Endo. Right in the challenge as well. Not the one of Saddam Hussein, though. Ishak. Went back by Maeda. Anywhere will do for Pakistan just to get the ball away from danger. And Manami. Itakura. Too much pace on the ball down the line. They've tried that a couple of times now, just trying to get Naganuma down that far side. Just overhit slightly that time.
Yeah, more Naganuma down the right-hand side, getting high and wide, where Endo on the left-hand side is not actually making as higher runs. He's actually just dropping a little bit shorter, looking to come inside on his right foot. Play a ball in like he did 5 minutes ago.
Gold medal in 2010 at the Asian Games. Japan won the AFC Under-23 Championships 2 years ago. Bodes well for Japanese football. Quite a few nations starting to come through. Of course, we've seen it in Europe with Belgium over the last few years, starting to bring good young players through. It's also happening in Asia. Nations naturally very strong. No Iraq in this year's competition. They were forced to pull out almost on the eve of the tournament. Iran, though, have got a good squad of players this year. Better looking ball in from Mansour, but no one in the centre. Only Riaz, but nowhere near the cross.
That's what happened. You get the ball out wide, you put a quality ball in like that, you only got one to aim for. It has to be the perfect ball. Just now out of position a little bit.
Naganuma. Lovely ball, Maeda. Good save, Saqib that time, alive to the danger. It's another quality ball through the defence, though. Maeda was on it like a flash, but good goalkeeping that time.
Really good goalkeeping. Great run from Maeda. Brilliant centre-forward run. When you make runs like that, the pass comes automatically. Give credit to the goalie. He's come out and he's made himself big very quickly. In fairness, I don't think he'd have had too much to do with the majority of the goals. I think the second one he could have probably positioned himself slightly better, but came off his line very quickly there, made a decent save. It shows Japan in the final third. If they go through the gears, move the ball quickly, get a few more chances, probably a few more goals. I love seeing this goal. Just look at the two quick touches. He knew exactly what he wanted to do before his first touch. Defender were there, just two there. Short back left, brilliant strike. The amount of power that he got behind the ball. That short back left was superb.
With the ball going away from him, to get the ball into that corner as well is a skill in itself, because normally you'd expect him to go the other side of the goalkeeper because of the angle.
It's a great finish. Fantastic finish. Great awareness as well.
Second of his goals for Iwasaki. Japan have got a corner. 3 players all in a line just on the penalty spot there. Pakistan trying to contain them. It's not a great corner. Get a second chance here, nodded out wide by Naganuma. Kamiya. Endo's throw. Itakura. Matsumoto. Boxing by Manami. Endo. Challenged by a shot which just left Endo down.
I've been impressed with Japan is that they've never really forced it. They've had time on the ball. Sometimes you just try and force that pass every single time, and they've not done that. They've been really, really patient. When the right opportunities open up to them, they've hit them with killer passes and killer goals.
Delighted to have got points on the board, undoubtedly. And arguably their toughest game will come in their final group game against Vietnam. It will be to decide who tops the group, depending on what happens later between Vietnam and Nepal. Here's Tate. Kamiya. He's covered plenty of ground in that central midfield area, Kamiya, the number 17.
He's picked up second balls really well. They've gone a little bit long. Pakistan have won the header. He's 9 times out of 10 when he's picked up possession and kept possession moving.
Yama. Here's again Kamiya. Takura. Interesting to see the possession stats at half-time. Pretty much control things from the opening whistle. Trying to get in on the act, but firing well over the top. I'm sure he'll be delighted with his team's performance in this first half. Moriyasu has made those 8 changes. Looks like he has 20 players that he's available to him that can all do a good job, which is unusual in football.
Yeah, it is unusual. I've seen it a couple of times now in this tournament, managers making 4 or 5 changes. I haven't seen a manager make 8 yet, but shows the belief that he's got. Just showed that the players that couldn't start the first game could do a job against Pakistan. And it's been a tough selection now for their final game against Vietnam, who starts.
2 minutes added time then at the end of the first half. It's a first half Pakistan will be looking to forget. I'd love to listen in on a team talk to a team that's losing 4-0 at half-time when they haven't really got a realistic chance of getting back into the game. As a coach like Aguero, he's an experienced man, Brazilian, you know, good footballing traditions. What kind of things would you expect him to say to his team at half-time?
I've had a few myself, so that's why I sort of know what you say. You then try and play the game in the second half in sort of little quarters. So you look first 15 minutes, second 15 minutes, and the third 15 minutes. Try not to concede. Can you maybe get a shot on goal? Can you maybe get a set play that maybe gets effect out from save from the goalie? But what he will try and say is, show me the desire not to be beaten by 7, 8, 9 goals. And he'll ask for the character of his players now. He knows that sometimes the ability is going to be a little bit different, that you clearly see that Pakistan haven't got a great abundance of ability. But you're just saying, show me some character now. Let me see what you're made of. The desire to see the second half out by not conceding another 4 goals.
Passing again by Japan. Is there another goal in this before half-time for them? I think the worrying thing for Aguero in this first half is that they haven't really looked like creating any chances. Their only shot came from a set piece. Yeah. And if you can't create chances, you're not going to score goals, and that's what wins football matches.
Exactly.
Chance for a regroup at half-time. I'm sure we'll see substitutions, plenty of them by both teams in the second half.
You never know, he might bring on Ahmad and Makbul, the 2 centre-forwards, just might give him an outball, because when you're not keeping the ball in midfield, you might have to go long and just chase into the channels, because that will squeeze you up the pitch a lot more than the way that Pakistan have tried to play themselves out to the back.
I'm sure they've enjoyed the first half. First 10 minutes particularly good for Japan as the referee brings the first half to a close. It's all about Japanese dominance here. 3 early goals got them off to a fine start. Sawasaki, Hatate and Almeida. He got the third. Gone close just prior to that. And then Iwasaki got his second of the game, and arguably the goal of the game so far to make it 4-0. And you certainly feel Japan now have 1 foot in the round of 16, joining Palestine. Damage.
Close till I get up. Time is barely on. walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Ready to explore right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul.
Welcome back to the Wibawa Mukti Stadium in West Java. It's halfway through the opening game of the day in Group D. It's been a one-sided first 45 minutes. Japan in a change to the ball white today. Really a little bit of movement on Pakistan. 3 goals very early on, another added later on in the first half. They lead by 4 goals to nil.
My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the road to the other side. My love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you...
What you're up to. If the goals do come, great. If not, don't give away a sloppy goal. which I don't think they will do. Don't give away silly free kicks and maybe pick up a needless yellow card. Just maybe reserve the energy. Nothing's going to happen for the last 20 minutes.
Referee gets us underway then for the second half. It's Japan all in white, kicking from left to right in the second 45 minutes, leading by 4 goals to 0, as we say, and very much on the verge of booking their place in the next stage of the competition. Vietnam against Nepal comes later. If Vietnam win, they also will go through. But potentially Pakistan or Nepal, if they could win their final game against each other, if there's a positive result in that game, they could still find themselves one of those sides going through as one of the best third-place teams. Long way to go, though. It's Nakayama. Tate. So one of the youngest squads in the tournament, Japan. 8 of their players in the starting lineup born in 1997, 3 in 1998. They're belying those years at the moment against the Pakistan side that does contain a couple of overage players. Saddam Hussein, the captain, being one of them. We've seen some quite high-profile players in this tournament. Son from South Korea, the Tottenham midfielder, is probably the highest profile of the overage players at this Asian Games. It's the last Olympics, Neymar led Brazil to victory after the disappointment of the 2014 World Cup. But Japan opting to stay with their youngsters with those Olympic Games in mind in 2020. They just missed out on a medal in London 2012, finished in 4th place. Beaten by South Korea in the bronze medal match. Gone with the same coach for Olympic and World Cup squads before. Some 20 years ago, the Frenchman Philippe Trousier was entrusted with trying to get Japan success in major tournaments. Managed to reach the quarter-finals in the 2000 Olympics under Trousier, and the round of 16 in the 2002 World Cup. And they co-hosted, of course, with South Korea, who had such a wonderful tournament under Gus Hiddink. Kamiya. Nakayama. Miyazaki. A couple of goals to his name, arguably the goal of the game so far in that first half. Lovely ball stumped forward. Flag stayed down. It was Naganuma that was in behind the defenders. The flag has now, well, the referee's certainly given a free kick now to Pakistan.
Good positive start. Getting forward. Naganuma. Wing-back's going to be very, very important now in this second half. Endo on that left-hand side, Naganuma on the right-hand side. There'll be acres of width out there. Pakistan will just stay narrow and conserve the 18-yard box.
He's got a big job on his hands, Jose Antonio Nogueira. Just a handful of teams below Pakistan in the world rankings. They're 201 in the world. Mansour trying to get on the end of that long ball forward. Matsumoto. Lovely long raking ball out to Endo. Inside a corner. Quality of the Japanese passing has been exceptional so far. Endo and Nakanuma getting licence to get forward, being the two wing backs. delivery from those set pieces has left a little bit to be desired. Khmer rather has taken the corners from both sides, but he's missed the first man yet, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's not been great from set plays. I think playing a short one and then getting Pakistan out of their areas and zones will be, I think, more beneficial than just putting the ball into the box. The delivery hasn't been quite right.
That time failing to get the ball past Hayat. Nice to see some of the younger Indonesians coming in to watch the football. 5:10 in the afternoon local time. Because you always hope, the big thing with these games, be Asian Games, Olympic Games, you always hope that you leave some kind of sporting legacy behind as well, that more people take up sports. I mean, 42 different sports, 484 events in the Asian Games and 46 member countries taking part. You know, there really is something for everybody to enjoy in these multi-sport events.
Well, it is, and I think it's important that the Games does leave a good legacy in the end, to see what, look at London 2012, what that left for England in terms of moving on as a country in terms of sport.
Chipped across by Naganuma. Maeda's header, good save, Sakib. Wasn't much pace on the header. It was made a little bit easier for the goalkeeper because of that, but he still had to get across. Inches away from his second goal of the game.
Yeah, it was a decent ball in. It was a decent save as well. He moved his feet brilliantly. Quite a few times Naganuma's got into a good position but not really hit any real quality. Just couldn't quite get the power on the header to head it down, but take nothing away from Sakib. It was a great save from him. Moved his feet really well, heads it down.
Iwasaki. In the first half. Khmer, Maeda will be on the target. Marshall that time by Hassan, who got the final touch. So another corner to Japan. You hear some great stories as well in this competition. You know, a lot of these nations are you know, not as rich as others, and players who start early on playing with balls of string or balls of straw in the street and progressing through the ranks. And really, a lot of countries are dreamed to come and play in a big tournament and compete at the highest level, whether you're ranked 201st in the world or first in the world.
I think sometimes, say, the lesser nations just may need one superstar to come out of it to try and pull the nation along and say, look, this is what you can get to, this is what you can do.
Can Khmer miss out the first man this time? Better delivery. Well, the goalkeeper just lost it slightly, manages to gather it. A little bit of a mix-up there between Ali and Sakib. A bit fortunate there.
Yeah, not the most convincing punch from it. Ali just in his way, but he may have just hurt his forearm. He went into the defender.
I have to say, in the two games played so far, I don't think I've ever seen a goalkeeper go down injured more times than Sakib. I think he had treatment 4 times in the opening game. This is possibly the 3rd time the trainer's been onto him in this one. Obviously bruises easily.
Yeah.
That was the opening goal from Iwasaki. Running behind the defenders brilliantly. 2 very good finishes from Iwasaki in this game. Maeda also getting in on the act. Iwasaki's second of the game. Brilliant touch inside the penalty area. Sign of the quality in Japan's side. They played at the Toulon tournament in France, which is a very high-profile youth tournament these days, and beat Portugal We were always one of the top-ranked European nations. Joint hosting cities for the first time in the Asian Games, Jakarta and Palembang. Just on the outskirts of Jakarta here in West Java. 5 centres being used for the football, Palembang being one of them. It's a rare touch for Kojima and not a great one. And a rare shot from Pakistan, but again another one that fails to register on target from Saddam Hussein.
Yeah. Fairly speculative, but poor goal kick from the keeper. Doesn't really get the best connection on it, but again another shot from distance, which is pretty woeful.
Maeda. Led by Yunus. Numa with a throw. Matate. Endo. Had to pull a shack out wide, and San going across to get a challenge in as well.
Certainly there, I think Japan can really capitalise on in the second half. Naganuma, Endo, 2 wing backs in particular. See what they're doing, moving the ball, switching it very quickly. I suppose I haven't gone for sure one, because he's 3 or 4 corners now that haven't really come to nothing.
Goes to the goalkeeper last time. So Virgin have gone short. Kamiya. Hoisted long, but hoisted too long towards Itakura, the captain.
You see the goals that Japan scored earlier, it's all because of the movement that Pakistan can't cope with. So when you hit 3 or 4 bad corners and you're standing there trying to go and win your header, if you just play it short, then Pakistan have to squeeze out, and all of a sudden you can get better movement. What they tend to do is ball watch and not mark the man. So I think Japan will do more short corners in the second half to try and create a bit more space or a different angle to get across in.
Good ball from Ashak Mansour. Challenged by Amanami. Looking for any positives really to take out of the game. Pakistan.
You asked me just before the end of the first half. It's the first 15 minutes of the second half and they've been okay. That's a positive. That's their second shot now, okay, albeit once from distance it was a bit speculative. That time was a little bit more difficult.
Still not tested the goalkeeper though, Kojima. Itakura. Tate. Matsumoto. Amanami. Itakura. San gets there ahead of Maeda. Back again there by Japan. Itakura. Kamiya. Still a good work rate by Japan. Very keen to win the ball back if they lose it inside the Pakistan half, not giving things up at the moment. Manami. 4-0 Japan lead. Here's Maeda. Just ran it slightly too far ahead of himself. Thought that might have gone out, but referee only gives a throw. Touch was just a little bit heavy from Maeda.
A little bit heavy touch, but it was a difficult running touch to kind of make.
Another corner. Lost count of the amount of corners Japan have had in this game. Managed to really capitalise on any so far. Short to Maeda. Kamiya. Naganuma. Once again with a little bit of space to work in. Most of that diagonal ball, lovely ball as well to pick up Maeda. Touch just let him down. Hayat's able to clear the ball away, but the offside flag got up a little bit late going up on this near side, but it was a lovely angle ball from Naganuma. That Vietnam against Nepal comes up in about an hour and 40 minutes time. Second bunch of teams in Group D. So a win for Vietnam would put them through. A win for Nepal give them a chance of making it through. A better than good chance probably as well. Vietnam would have to play Japan in their final game, which could be somewhat problematic. Interesting to see Japan's mindset if they do win this one and go through, but I was thinking if I was a coach and if I was a player, I'd want to be taking a good momentum. I wouldn't want to take my foot off the gas. I'd want to be going in with 3 wins behind me and people saying, right, these guys are one of the favourites now.
Oh, definitely. It sends a message out to the rest of the tournament. Scoring goals against weaker opposition, and we've seen other countries that really struggled to get past these, say, lesser nations with an abundance of goals.
Pakistan have got a free kick. They might have to attack this one without Arslan, I think, who's just taken a knock to the eye, so made it a little bit of treatment. Just a slight cut, I think, under his eye. Japan will be keen to keep a second clean sheet in the competition. Mansour with a free kick. There's big appeals for handball from Pakistan. It's Matsumoto that made the clearance. So we'll look and see what this struck. It would have been a very harsh penalty if the referee had seen that as a handball. Just hit Matsumoto, didn't know anything about it. Big rows in the handball rules, of course, at the World Cup. I noticed the English Premier League have opted to be a little bit more lax in their handball decisions inside the penalty area. It's one of those, this unnatural position, and a couple of penalties given even after the referees looked at it by VAR, which you would probably say, well, you know, that's a little unfortunate, because how do you get out of the way of it?
It's a rule that's baffled me. I'm talking as an ex-player now. When you go and close the ball down, there's never an intention in my mind to deliberately handball the ball if it gets crossed in. You go out to go and close it down. And you go and close the ball down, or if a cross comes in and it hits your arm and it's five yards away from you, that you can't do anything. It's different when it's going towards goal and you stick your arm out to stop it going in. To me, that is deliberate handball. But as an ex-player, very, very rarely do I see players deliberately handling the ball and intention say, I'm going to handball it to stop the ball going through. Very rarely it actually happens.
Certainly an interesting one, and I'm sure one that will be contested a lot over the course of the coming seasons.
Yeah. And it's one of them rules that if it hits your hand, regardless if it's deliberate or not, it's a penalty. Then it kind of gets the rule out of everything of, well, was it deliberate, was it not?
Injury here to Mansour, just a touch of cramp, having burst forward and finding that shot from probably about 40 yards out. Don't want to dwell on the VAR, but just very quickly, is it something you're in favour of, or would you rather the game stick to its traditions of unpredictability?
I've probably, like you've done last season, a lot of VAR games that I was involved in. The problem is that it may not just suit the game of football. When you look at maybe cricket, where it's a little bit slower, where you have time to look at it, you have Hawkeye that sometimes takes the decision out of a human's instincts, and that's the problem now, is that the referee doesn't know. You're then going up to a consortium of people now to make a decision on a human reaction, and I think goal line technology has helped. I think misidentity of a player can certainly help, but I still think there's a long way to go for VAR to work in football. You only have to look at the World Cup final, won't you, when that penalty was given. Half of the people say yes, half the people say no. That's where we are at the moment.
Certainly an interesting debate for the future, and of course if you implement it at a national, international level, then all the countries in the world have to adopt it, and then you have the cost of the technology itself. But no VAR here, it's purely down to the referees, who've actually done a pretty good job so far. No really contentious decisions, certainly in the games that I've seen in the tournament. Here comes Japan going in search of a fifth goal. Taken by Sakib. Safe handling that time by the goalkeeper.
Yeah. Even in the second half now, if I was a Pakistan player, take your time with throw-ins, take your time with free kicks. If I was Sakib now, I'd keep the ball in my hands, and the referee even take a yellow card. You know what I mean? Just, it might weigh down a few seconds. Fatigue is now certainly creeping in, so what you don't want to do is collect the ball and then boot it 40 yards down the field and not even relieve any pressure.
We're into the final quarter of the match. It's one thing that you notice with the high humidity here in the heat as well. A lot of cramp creeps in later stages of the game, and some of the games just tend to become a little bit scrappy at this point with sort of 20 minutes to go. That's when you tend to see the majority of your substitutions coming in.
But also what happens is, well, these are young players that start at a very, very high pace. I've never seen, you know, the fitness levels continue in the second half, and you do drop off, and that's only natural for young players. It's when you go into those first teams and you have a mixture of experience as well, then you conserve your energy, when to go, when not to go. The fact that the games have been quite one-sided for a lot of the stronger nations, you know, a lot of their energy is used up in the first half.
Nakayama, Kamiya, Itakura. Still looking quite fresh at the moment. Mansour. Stand out by Endo. Going to see the first substitution. It's going to be Arslan that's going off. Mohamed Bilal is the player that's coming on. I just saw that knock in the face a moment or so ago. You can just see a little bit of swelling under his eye there. Probably why they've decided to bring off Arslan. Not rushing himself, is he? He needs the time waste. So Bilal comes on. First change made by either side. Saw just allowing the ball to run out of play. Matsumoto. Kamiya. Itakura. Kamiya. Batate. It's a slip by Ali. Persistence by Naganuma. Batate. Good sliding challenge by Yunus to concede the corner.
Defending there from Yunus comes along, reads the danger well.
Once again, it's Kamiya who's, I think, taken every corner so far for Japan. Giving the ball away too often today, Japan, but when they have, they've managed to win it back fairly quickly.
One of the big things I noticed in the first half was their work rate to win the ball back quickly as possible. It's a great side of the game to have as well. It's great when you've got the ball and you're passing the ball well and you're dominating the game, but the desire to go and win the ball back as quickly as possible when you don't have it.
So Kamiya, who's been excellent in midfield, has done his job and done his job well. It's Tariki Hara that comes on, the man from Ilbirix Niigata. Part of that squad that won the Under-16 AFC Under-19 Championships a couple of years ago. Kamiya really has been excellent. I was about to say to you, actually, if we were in the business of picking men of the match, I certainly think Kamiya, despite the fact he hasn't scored, would have been up there for his work through midfield today.
He did really well. I mentioned, I think, 35 minutes into the first half when you were talking about him. He just won the second ball. So when they did go long and Pakistan won the header, he was the first person to pick it up. And so many times that keeps pressure on teams that you can't manage to get out. More of a defender, I think. Ikakura will now go into that midfield as the holding midfielder.
It's Kojima coming a long way off his line, and Mansour being penalised for the challenge, and he's the man who's come off worst. Certainly a long way out of his goal there, Kojima.
He won the ball, but I saw someone who just slid in. I don't quite know what he was trying to do there, sliding from that distance. If anything, it certainly is a foul on Kojima, the goalkeeper. It's twice now he's done that. One in the first half where he was late and reckless, and this time he's done it again.
The referee's only given out the one yellow card so far to Hayat in the first half. Jamie Moriyasu there on the right, looking on. Be a massive boost if his side could go all the way in this competition. 2010 winners, runners-up to Iran in 2002. Obi is the substitute goalkeeper on the bench for Japan. Hasn't had a lot to do, Kojima, to be fair to him. He has done well what he's had to do. It's a heavy coming together.
Well, it is, and you mentioned second half about Japan. What do you or not want to do? Concede a sloppy goal, pick up sloppy yellow cards, or pick up an injury to your number one goalie. A position he's hardly had a touch, but may end up coming off. There's an opportunity now for Obi to come on and stake a place for the team.
A lengthy treatment for these two. Kojima's back on his feet. Mansour looks like he's probably going to be okay. Still limping quite heavily, the Japanese goalkeeper. Saki's been another one of the stars of the show. Great movement.
It's a great first touch because it then takes out Hassan to come and make the challenge. All their goals today, Mark, have been of real quality, different kind of goals. This one, for me, is the pick of the bunch. As we were talking about earlier, maybe she could have gone to the right-hand side of the goal, but he doesn't. 2 quick touches, short back lift. That's great power from him to get that short back lift and taking it past Saqib.
It's a great shot window as well for some of these young players. I mean, Asia, when you look at European leagues, you know, we mentioned a couple of names earlier on from Japan. It's not an area that players tend to appear in European leagues, but clearly law of averages says by the size of population that there are a lot of talented players in Asia.
Oh, there will be, and you know, South Korea got to the semi-finals 2002. Japan have made the last 16 on a couple of occasions. The talent is there. I generally do. And as I mentioned about Shunsuke Nakamura, technically the best player I've ever played against, and I've seen Honda play at AC Milan as well. Another player, Park Ji-sung, is another player as a Manchester United. They do have their qualities. It's just a shame to see we don't. You're right. We just do not see enough of them in the big leagues, but definitely sure the talent's there.
It looks as though the Japanese goalkeeper Kojima is going to be playing no further part in the game. It will be Pal Obina Obi that comes on. Well, I hope that's nothing too serious. I know Kojima's not had much to do, but he is the #1 goalkeeper for Japan. Let's see if Mansour can continue for Pakistan. It is the thankless job, really, isn't it? Football, isn't it, being the backup goalkeeper? Some coaches do like to rotate, but some don't.
You see even managers at the top level in the World Cup, as we saw, they rotated their team, but kept the goalkeeper. Japan have done that today. Could have easily played Obi in goal today. I'm saying they've had too much to do, but still just a little bit of game time, feel of the ball in the match day situation.
Mansour's back on as well, by the way. Cleared away by Hassan. Very much a learning curve for these Pakistan players. Coach will be saying to them, you know, we have to respond against Nepal. It's our final game, it's our final chance to get through. Saddam Hussein. Kicked by Hatate. So as we possibly hinted, the pattern of the game here, 4 goals in the first half for Japan. They've 10 minutes left in the second half. No addition to that score. Suddenly with a wild slash at the ball, which again goes down as a shot, but nowhere near the target. Looks as though Pakistan had won the ball back, but again Maeda's tenacity wins it back for his team. And Manami given away. They've not really had any luck in that final third today. Pakistan, there's Adil Ali that time, trying to burst forward. With a change for Japan, it's Endo that's going off this time. And Hatsuze is the player that's coming on. That's all three substitutions made now by Japan. Hatsuze, Hara and the goalkeeper Obi. Into the final 10 minutes then. Japan still leading by 4-0 and going through comfortably to the round of 16. 2 wins out of 2, having opened up with a victory over Nepal. Saddam Hussein. Tussle on the touchline. The fourth official was quick to prevent that going any further. Itakura, Nakayuma. Chase on for Hatsuze.
Saying to me before, just before the first time, what Nagama will be saying to Pakistan in the second half. They've come out, as I said before, the quality wasn't going to be there, but the work rate's been there. They've still worked hard when they haven't. Honestly, when you've been 4-0 down at half time, your mind goes, and you sometimes don't even want to come out for the second half, knowing it's going to be a long, hard draw to try and get on the ball or even get in the final third. So play the 15 minutes through the quarters, try not to concede a goal in the second half. That's a start. They're still working hard when they don't have the ball. Yes, the quality hasn't been there, and that was easily to see, but trying to look for positives, even small ones. They take a great deal from these this part of the second half. They can get through the second half without conceding. That's something certainly to work on.
I'm sure the coaching staff will be sticking around to plot some tactics against Nepal, who play Vietnam next.
It's a game that you can go into thinking, right, can we pick up a win against Nepal? Yes, we can.
Worked its way through again towards Hitate. Just got it caught under his feet slightly. The defenders were always favoured to get that one away.
This is what we saw lots of times in the first half. Not really seen it enough in the second half. A little threaded through balls.
It's Hayat's clearance. Naganuma. Swinging away Iwasaki. Just too far away from Hitate. So the Asian Games opening ceremony taking place on Saturday, which will signal the full schedule of games getting underway. Of the games getting underway. A couple of demonstration sports for the first time taking part here. Esports, which is basically electronic gaming, and canoe polo.
You're good at that, esports.
FIFA.
Yep.
It's a strange one. Electronic gaming.
I think it's the way the world's going now, Mark, especially over here, especially in Asia. And they're brilliant. They are brilliant.
I think we were talking the other day, weren't we, about some of the sports sort of specific to Asia, really. Kabaddi being one, which is massive in India. Sepak takraw is always another one that people like to watch at an Asian Games as well, because of the levels of skills that are involved and, you know, the agility involved in that. Anyway, compared to Sepak takraw, football's quite straightforward. They're making a fairly comfortable-looking job of it at the moment. Hara. Nakayama. Once again, the substitute. Omanami. Interesting to see as well as the competition progresses. There was a mistake here, which Pakistan getting themselves into all sorts of trouble, and Riaz concedes the corner. Just talking about formation, will they stick with the three at the back, or will they go back to that flat back four? The three has worked very well for them today.
Well, it has worked, and okay, the opposition hasn't been great, but they used it to good effect. They played forward and back again in their first game against Nepal. They could only get the one goal earlier on. It'll be interesting to see what he does do. 3-5-2 formation is now coming more and more into play into the modern day game. It's 4-4-2, then a 4-2-3-1, and now 3-5-2 was very popular during the World Cup.
So Japan haven't really made the most of their set pieces. Kamiya, who'd taken most of them, has gone off, so it'll be Hatsuze, his replacement, that takes this one. Good header away. Naganuma. Nakayama. Suze. Hara. Nakayama.
That's good defending.
It's a Tate the intended target, and he very nearly made contact as well.
Hey, yeah, got goal side really well. Sometimes you don't need to win the header, just put a little challenge in there. So fair play to it. Very easy just to switch off there, get full ball watching, he gets goal side well.
Approaching the final 2 minutes of the match.
Certainly expecting a fair bit of injury time.
Substitute keeper Obi that fails to keep that one in, so it will be a Pakistan corner.
It's not bad for Japan. That's the first poor ball I've seen them play. A little bit tired. 88th minute. Number 21. I think that's a fair credit to their concentration. That was probably the first misplaced pass. Just for a little bit of fatigue there, but Pakistan finally just get the shot on target.
Zaini Shaq with the corner. Japan have defended it well, and there might be a chance of a break on here. Lovely play. Tucked back inside by Tate. This is Naganuma. Maeda making a forward run. Maeda gets there first, hurdles the goalkeeper. Pakistan, I think, have just about survived. It was a quick breakout by the Japanese. It's good defending in the end.
The way that Saki's played today, I knew that the timing of his run to come out wasn't going to be there. Great little nutmeg, great little counter-attack from Naganuma. The white shirt's looking to get forward, so even at 4-0. So he's honest to stay on his feet there.
That's quite interesting. A lot of players might have been tempted just to play for the penalty and leave that leg dangling and go over. And
it was the ball that I saw coming that you do see the coming togethers of a player and a goalkeeper. Maeda, credit to him, stayed on his feet.
So I don't think it's really in their makeup, Japan, to do that kind of thing, to be honest.
No.
They've always been associated very much with a good sense of fair play.
I would have gone down.
You're not Japanese. So 3 minutes added time. It has been the proverbial game of two halves, I suppose. Japan with the 4 goals in the first and much better from Pakistan in the second. They have one more chance, don't forget they play Nepal in 3 days' time. Japan have got their final game against Vietnam. See how Vietnam fare later when they take on Nepal. With a battle between the top two. That one, Palestine, don't forget, already through from Group A. The host nation, Indonesia, though, probably with a better than good chance, having won one of their games already, so they would feel they'll certainly qualify even as one of the best third-place teams, but still a couple of games to go for them in Group A. Massive crowds to see the Indonesian team in this competition.
I said last night, they lost to Palestine. The enthusiasm's there.
The host nation won the games back in 2014, South Korea, when it was held in Incheon. Qatar also won on home soil in 2006. Hara. Nakayama. Itakura. Play forward again towards Maeda. Looping header, but it's looping too high. Not sure what Sakib was doing there. He injured himself. Trying to hang on the crossbar.
Conviction in the header, decent ball through.
He had his goal in the first half, Maeda, in that quick-fire 3-goal salvo. Mansour is going off, Pakistan making a late change. We've already played the 2 minutes added time, or 2 minutes of the added time, rather. Ahmad is going to come on. Quite surprised we didn't see Mac Ball in the game. He had a little bit of pace in that opening game, having started up front, but coaches opted not to bring him on in this one.
One of the changes he may have done in the second half was brought Ahmad on and Mac Ball as well, just as a different out ball. 15-20 minutes, they kind of stayed in the game, limited to Japan for half chances, but they've just never really had a real out ball to get up the field.
Just over 3 minutes added time played by the referee, and it brings to a close a game that has seen a very industrious performance from Japan. They really had the game sewn up inside the opening 10 minutes. There was no way back for Pakistan after that. They added another goal in that first half. They were unable to find a way through in the second. A couple of goals from Iwasaki, the second of his and the fourth goal, the goal of the game. But Japan have certainly